Okay, it's already gone 10:30. Sorry about our continued tech struggles. We'll get there. Good morning. Welcome to our People, Their Stories for May. And I'm Vicky Dewsbury. Just a few in-house issues. If there's an emergency, we're supposed to assemble outside where it's quite wet and rainy, but follow, please, the instructions of our QVMAG team. They will let us know what to do. If you're new to here and you haven't been familiar with it, the toilets are out round past the front desk and virtually on the other side of this wall if you need to use the toilets while you're here. Okay, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge that we meet on the lands of the Stony Creek Nation of Lutruwita, lands that were never ceded. Aboriginal ancestors traversed this island, custodians of land, sea and sky country, creating stories of place which still inspire their communities today. A culture not only rich with stories, but song, design technologies, which we're privileged to exhibit and understand through this institution. We also acknowledge the leaders of past, present, as we work towards a future of truth and reconciliation. So this morning's talk is the Country Women's Association, 90 years, celebrating 90 years in Tasmania. Just a little bit of background. The Country Women's Association is 100 years old in Australia. It's an institution of Australian country life, started in 1922. And actually, when I was growing up in New England, New South Wales, the local chapter was really rather strong and very much part of our extended family, with my aunt being a key member for her lifetime. I was often called on for the odd bit of sign writing because I could not be trusted to whip the cream. That went to my cousin, who was nearly a year older than me. So with volunteering in decline for a lot of institutions over the past generation, many chapters may have struggled, but others have found renewed interest, bringing change and social justice issues to the fore. And to give us the Tasmanian local history are Sharon Hutton, the Northern Group President, and the State Vice President, Lindy Perkins. Please welcome them.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, how is everybody today? Speaking of not being trusted with the cream, I was doing a function recently where one of our older members watched me make sandwiches, and I was like, am I doing it wrong? She said, no, there used to be a course on making sandwiches. First you had to learn how to butter the sandwich correctly, then fill the sandwich correctly, all within a time frame, how many sweeps of the butter, and I was like, you're joking, right? She's like, no, she's in her 90s, she still cooks, she still supplies the shop. And I said, did I pass? She said, oh yeah, she would have passed with no issues. But I was like, so yes, whipping the cream, that's a whole nother level, especially in CWA. A little bit of our history. We were February 14th in Launceston. We had our first annual meeting at King's Hall, November 5th and 6th. By 1937, we were a member of the Associated Country Women's of the World, ACWW. We are still a current member of that. Much less people are a current member. Let me find my notes. We still say our motto and our collect at every meeting. I do have a copy of it with me. I'm not going to do it because I don't know it. I know, I love the motto. Our motto is very good. We currently have 33 branches, and we are currently opening several new branches. So we have declined, but we are growing again. We've currently got over 500 members. By 1961, we owned 19 halls and restrooms. So restrooms were put in for the ladies and children because back then, ladies couldn't go to the restrooms in pubs and clubs, which were the only public ones available. So CWA put in their restrooms. The shop in Launceston was a restroom. The Hobart shop was a restroom where ladies could come into town, drop their bags, change their children's nappies, get a cup of tea, have a minute while going around on their daily life. So it was an integral part of women and children, which is what we are about. Our motto and core values are about improving women and children's lives in our community. We advocate for the quality of life in rural and urban areas. We focus on social issues, we care for our environment and our cultural areas. We have a conference every year. At that conference, we have our resolutions. Resolutions over the years have made big differences in our lives, right back to immunisations against diphtheria, whooping cough, compulsory x-rays for treatment of TB, women on hospital boards, traffic rules for motor, the booklet, that was the CWA resolution. We have worked and donated kindergartens, children's playgrounds. We have, the amount of things that CWA have done is massive. Donations for a kidney transplant and artificial eyes for children. We have infant cot death monitors to the Royal Hospital, fetal heart monitors, radios for domiciliary nurses in 1986, 10K boxes of sewing aids to Fiji, Western Samoa, Papua New Guinea. The list is endless. One of my favourites is zippers in men's pants. We're always told that. Buttons went out and zippers in men's pants was a CWA resolution. It's the little things sometimes. It's not just the bigger things. So at a conference, the ladies will get together. They will put a resolution in. It is then voted on. It then goes into head office. There used to be a committee that dealt specifically with resolutions. And then it affects our lives daily. Road signage, the big road signs, that was a CWA resolution. The beeps on the side of road pedestrian crossings, zigzags on pedestrian crossings, all CWA resolutions. The ladies will look around, see what changes they want to make, and we have the ability to make those changes, as well as supporting our local communities as well. So CWA have donated over $1 million within our communities, and that was by the 50s. We're still going. We still donate every year. We have a charity that we support every year. Royal Flying Doctors, a dental health service, the list goes on. We also have a book called The Winning Ways, which is a show standard book. It was published in I've got that date somewhere, sorry, I can't find it now. Oh, gosh, sorry. 1985 that book was published. So we have an exhibition that has been running since 1945 that is currently on this weekend in Launceston. It's the 81st State Handcraft Exhibition, which is run by Handcraft and Home Industries, which we still have. Every area, so we're split into north, northwest, south, has a Home Industries committee and a craft group that meets once a month. Once a year, they have an exhibition that travels the state. It's 81 years old this year. That is on in Launceston at the Italian Club. There'll be over probably 1,000 exhibits of different crafts, cooking, and they're all judged. So The Winning Ways is a book that covers how to judge. It's a show standard book, so it teaches the judges how to break down their judging, how to cut a cake, how to taste a cake, what your sewing should be like, whether a seam should be raised or flat. It's recently been republished and modernised and brought new techniques, new quilting techniques, new jewellery techniques into the book. So that is something that we sell, and that money then goes back into CWA for other things. So there are several dozen cookbooks around as well. We have the 21st Century Cookbook that has been around since the 50s, and we call that the Tasmanian Bible. Brains to Biscuits. It's the old book in the original format that is still for sale, and I think it's in its 6th reprint. We've just updated the introduction with our outgoing president, Adriana Taylor, who's on her last year this year. This is something that we did for our 90th birthday. It honours all of our presidents. In State Head Office, there is a board with all of these ladies' photos going all the way through. So we thought that was just such a lovely thing to do, and we've had it on display quite a bit. The quilt was made by our H&HI. It represents all of our current branches, all hand embroidered by our current branches. And then, thankfully, the ladies who are currently running H&HI are quilters. So they put together this absolutely gorgeous quilt. Since the inception of the quilt, we've actually had 3 new branches, but there are 4 corners, and eventually those patches will be added to the quilt. So I'll pop that on the table at the back for everybody later. I became involved in CWA about 8 years ago. I moved to Tasmania, I needed a craft group, and I joined a local Launceston craft group. About 80% of that craft group was CWA ladies. It's a good fit for me. I cook, I craft, I'm political, not too political, but you have an opportunity to make change in your environment. I'm heavily involved in our Launceston shop. Lindy at the back there is our manager. She's also the state vice president, and we run the shop. So our branch, Launceston City branch, was created specifically to take over management of the shop. We've renovated it, and we want to keep it open for another 70 years. That had its 70th birthday in September of last year. It was bought for £6,500 70 years ago. We are a traditional, handmade, every product in there is local produce, traditional values, traditional preserving techniques, about the only place you can get a decent raspberry jam. So our history is mammoth. I've got 4 pages of history, but I won't bore you with it all. Our conception was 1936. In the war years, they donated thousands of camouflage nets, slippers, mittens, gloves, food over to Britain. The scholarships to children attending Tasmanian schools from Flinders Island. We've opened several holiday homes. In the 50s, they purchased several properties. Holiday homes were for women and children to go at a reasonable cost. We still have Hawley Holiday House, which is on Hawley Beach. It's $350 a week for CWA members. Good luck getting a place. It's very hard to get a booking. It's absolutely beautiful. It's an old shack that's been renovated and it's kept up to standards. So that was always something that was a really good little concept. We've donated flags to schools. We've equipped kindergartens. We've built children's playgrounds, restrooms. They have, I've got some highlighted. We've donated kidneys, for children to get kidney transplants, not donated kidneys, sorry. Radios for domiciliary nurses, 68 pages in 1986. At the same conference that was presented, one of the resolutions that went through was for toilet doors to open outward and not inward. The next day in the newspaper, the headline read, CWA fixed the dunnies, on the front page, but page 9 was the 68 pages that were donated, which is probably a little bit more important than toilet doors swinging outward. They were asked to be swung outward so that if somebody collapsed in a toilet, you could actually get into them, whereas a toilet door swings inward on the person that's on the floor. So it's the small things that can make big changes. We have sent sewing aids to Fiji, Western Samoa. We still support the Cancer Council. We still make breast cancer cushions. We are probably one of the only organisations at the moment that regularly take in breast cancer cushions. There are specific guidelines for those. Certain sizes has to be cotton fabric. The way that the seams are done, they're a brilliant aid for people recovering from breast cancer. We've had our state projects. Every year the state chooses a charity and a project to support, and that has done ever since our conferences. We have health topics. so we have to do a little bit of study, which some of us are very impressed with. This year, our country of study is Samoa, so our branch will look into that country. It teaches us about other cultures, other environments, the way other women live in other countries, the way their lives are affected in other countries. And out of that, we might decide to then go ahead and take on another project. So we've done Samoa, we've done Canada, we've done probably every area of our own region, as well as most of the world. I mean, we've been around for 90 years, so there's been a lot of education within our organisation. Health projects, we take a new health project on every year. Diabetes, migraines, epilepsy. That way we all learn something new, and it can also affect our immediate environment. We also take on a food. This year it is the effect of removal of small abattoirs on our agricultural areas. So big factories against small factories. Do you have a local butcher? How does your local butcher get their meat? Where did their meat come from? It all affects how we look at our environment. So we're all continually learning as well. The shops we have over the whole state, and they have been around, well, ours is 70 years. I think Hobart's a little bit older than ours, Lindy. Like I said, we have literally gutted the entire shop over the last couple of years, and we're still moving forward with that. We have people that come into the shop that have been coming in since they were toddlers with their mums. They're still buying the cakes. They remember the butcher next door. We get a lot of local history brought into the shop as well. We get people bringing in their mum's CWA things or their aunt's CWA things. We have a little trophy cabinet in there of past awards that have gone out locally. People love seeing their mum's name or their grandma's name on a trophy or in the trophy cabinet. And people will bring stuff in that they consider precious, and therefore we consider precious. An original copy of the Esk Valley Cookbook. That's as rare as hen's teeth. That's a really good little cookbook. So we try to keep our own history preserved as well. We still, moving forward, we're still trying to open new branches. We're looking at one in Cleveland at the moment, locally, that will do Cleveland and Ross, Campbelltown, Epping Forest, that sort of area. There's been a new branch opened at Ulverston. So we are looking where there is a need and where people are asking for us to come in to open branches. So we are still growing as an organisation. Some people think Countrymen's Association is literally just scones and tea, and it isn't. We do much more than that. Our branch and the shop support locally. We are a drop-off point for Tassie Mums, which is a fantastic organisation. We supply St Vincent de Paul soup van with 20 litres of soup a week. We do cookies for St Vincent de Paul's. We support the Benevolent Society. We do a lot of things within our area. We support Shakina House with a meal once a month. Our branch is a very busy branch. CWA are very quiet about their achievements. A lot of branches, wherever you've got a CWA branch, you will have them helping their community directly, and they've been doing that for a lot of years. So we always try to quietly, we're probably a little bit too quiet, we always try to quietly support our community. We try not to say no, but sometimes that's not always possible. So we do as much as we can where we can, and we've been doing it for a very long time. We are always aware that we're custodians of CWA, we're members, but these ladies have all come before us, and we're very proud of what these ladies have all achieved, especially in a time where women weren't heard and women weren't valued other than for being in the house. These ladies really went out and set up an organisation. Being part of ACWW, women have done that worldwide. So there have been rural, women's rural groups since the 1800s, I think. So we are so proud to be a part of ACWW and make effects worldwide. We're in the southern region, of course, and there's been things like wells being built and supporting communities on the islands and that sort of stuff, which we've all been involved in. So being a member of CWA comes with a lot of history, and that is something that you take on when you are a CWA member. We are in a room listening to our older ladies. You've always got a mentor on hand with, if you've got a question, whether it's a cooking question, a sewing question, or just a life question, there's always somebody at the end of the phone. You can pick that phone up. I mean, I rang a lady last night for today. She's our historian, and she wasn't able to come and do it. And Leslie, who's one of the presidents on here, Leslie Young, is so knowledgeable for CWA, so that was my go-to. Have a quick chat with Leslie and just double-check some of my history. So these ladies, we love looking at these for the fashion, the times, how they're dressed. It used to be hats, gloves and stockings at a meeting, not so much now. Yeah, we're very proud to be CWA and to keep the organisation moving forward in modern times and making changes, still making changes within our community and whatever we can do. Any questions?
I just have a question.
Yeah.
So when a resolution is
Yes.
made, how does it actually magically...
Yes, well, we used to have a committee called the SIF Committee, which was specifically set up to tackle resolutions. Now head office will, depending on what we want, so recently the breast cancer bus on the northwest coast, I think, had broken down. So CWA as a collective sent hundreds of letters to get that bus back up and running and to let the government know that, no, we weren't happy that we only had one bus on the island, we needed the 2 buses on the island. So we can either take direct action, as in every member of CWA, or as many as are willing, will petition, or head office will petition on the behalf of the members. So resolutions, they're very strict with the amount of words. My first resolution that I ever saw as a member, and I was really looking forward to reading this year's resolutions, because I'd seen the lists of resolutions and the traffic signs and the immunisations, and it was toothpaste should not come in square boxes, it's a waste of packaging and space on the shelf. That was my reaction. And I was like, I wasn't expecting that, but fair enough, it's recycling, and that was our focus for the year, was recycling, reusing, upcycling, that sort of stuff. So it made sense. We do look at different things though. Batteries, big enough so children can't swallow them, the little round batteries, all that sort of stuff were CWA resolutions. Safety eyes, all that sort of stuff, CWA resolutions. So there are different ways that we go about it, but petitioning government is that's the first step. We did a lot of stuff on the road rules, speeding through certain areas, through certain residential areas, and lowering the speed limits within residential. And that's all through certain government areas that we then have to go about petitioning. Some governments are not prepared to take on the CWA. Depends if their mothers were members or their grandmothers were members. So yeah, we still do that. Yeah. Yes?
Another question? Great work, I love this. But how are you guys focusing on the legacy in the future? Like, how are you attracting? Thank you. How are you attracting younger generations to be involved in CWA?
The old lady mythology, which is CWA, isn't as current. Yes, we have a lot of older members. We've got members who have been in the CWA since they were 16, and they're now in their 90s. They're our mentors. I'm in my 50s. I've been a member since I was in my 40s. We have junior members. You can join CWA from birth. Some ladies sign their children up from birth. And then when you get to 16, you then become a senior member. The resurgence in handcraft is a big part of us also resurging. During COVID, everything got shut down. People were forced to stay home. Handcrafts exploded. TikTok and people seeing short reels on how easy handcraft is actually to do. Where do you go for a class? How do you learn how to do that? Cooking in the home has become more of a thing now, especially with rising prices of eating out. you have got a whole generation of children who can't even boil an egg. CWA will go into universities and teach them how to pimp their noodles, sew on a button. The simple things, not so much darn a sock, but fix a shirt. So one of our local groups will actually go out and do that for you. But yeah, we have handcraft, and that is a big help. People can come along to our handcraft day, learn how to do something, and leave excited. We have regular things down at Ross that anyone can attend, probably 2 or 3 times a year. But the resurgence of CWA is also people wanting to make a change in their environment. So we have several little pockets that we fit into. Volunteers in general are dropping off. A lot of volunteer organisations are struggling to find members because people have to work. You've got 2 parents working, children, no children. It makes no difference. It's tough out there at the moment. So, yeah, learning is how we attract members. And then you've got people who specifically want to make a change, and we're somewhere that they can come and do that.
It's also the social aspect.
Yes,
Especially.
yes. For me, it's always the social aspect. Yeah. As you can tell, I'm Little Miss Have a Chat, so I can sit in a room. I'm a teacher by trade. I'm a jewellery teacher, so for me, supporting women is a natural thing that I've done. I grew up in England in a small mining village. I lived through the mining strikes. That was my childhood. Getting a chase off the riot police was fun. That's what I grew up with. So coming to Australia was a big change and a big culture clash for me. But growing up in that environment of a very small rural English village and living through the mining strikes, our community supported our community. When I left England, there was a 52% unemployment rate in my village. We came to Australia to an employment crisis of 6%. We were quite shocked at that. So I fit CWA very well because I'm used to supporting. My mum worked at the Volunteers Centre in town. I was St John's, my sister was band, my brother was Scouts. I have a history of volunteering within my family. So for me, I've always taught jewellery and been around women. My children were brought up in a room full of women, so they can make eye contact and have a conversation with adults. They're now in their 30s, but yeah, so for me it was a very natural progression to fit into CWA because that's my environment. Women supporting women, having someone to talk to, having a chat, having a cuppa. A group of women in a room, you've got a lot of knowledge. A group of older women in a room, you have a lot of knowledge. So it's always nice to have that chat. And not everyone suits everybody. I always say find your tribe. You're not going to fit at every branch, but just because that's your local branch doesn't mean you have to go to that branch. I've moved branches. I went from East Branch to City Branch because we were specifically opening the shop. Not because I didn't like the ladies at East. They're still my friends. I still see them every week at my house. So, you know, there is a huge social aspect. You've got people that will be in CWA just for the chat, just for the social aspect. You don't have to be an active member of aggressively getting out there and being a political push or volunteering on a cake stall. You can do what you want to do, and you can do it at the level that you want to do it. Some of us just do a little more in certain areas. I think I'm in my 4th or 5th position. I did warn the girls that when I joined I would be involved, and I would be very involved. When I came to Tasmania, I had a very sick adult disabled daughter. When she recovered, I needed a new hobby. I needed something new to wake my brain up. So I learned how to crochet. I'm a serial crafter. You name it, I've done it. The only thing I haven't done is paper craft. I don't do paper craft. Occasionally I dabble. Every Christmas I will have 2 to 3 new hobbies. I plan them in December, and January I will try 2 to 3 new things. This year I'm doing forever flowers, chenille sticks into flowers. It's very pretty, I love it. My lounge room looks like Spotlight. So I'm a good fit for CWA. My kitchen looks like Bunnings with shelving, and my lounge room looks like Spotlight. So not everyone has that level of enthusiasm for crafts, but that's me. I love my crafting. So yeah, it's a great organisation to be involved in because it has so many facets. It has such a rich history. We do so much in our communities. So, any other questions?
Oh.
Yep.
Microphone.
How does the CWA remain financially viable?
Because of these ladies, the halls and things, we have an investment portfolio that keeps our organisation running. We have a $60 membership fee. We have 500 members. That $60 membership fee does not cover our costs of running the organisation. We have a head office in Hobart. We have a permanent staff member that runs that head office. So the branches will send contributions to head office, but we also have several contributions. So there's a charitable contribution, there's a state contribution, there's a scholarship contribution, there's an emergency fund contribution. Branches send a set amount or what they can afford to send. Some branches are not financial, so therefore they don't send. Other branches have more money because of their fundraising, therefore they send more. However, these ladies I've put money away over the years, and sale of buildings. I mean, we at one point we had 19 buildings. We still have CWA halls. We still own the shop. The Hobart shop is an owned property. All of that puts us in a position where we can keep the organisation going, because memberships does not keep the organisation going, and it will not. We're no longer at the point that we have 5,000 members. At that point, the surplus of the membership money that these ladies have set us up for the future. Yep.
Thank you for the rest. As a country girl from Central Victoria, thank you for the restroom.
Everyone here?
I remember them a lot during my childhood,
Mm.
going to Big City to shop. What I wanted to ask is the demographic of women who joined
Yep.
the CWA, was it largely Protestant? It doesn't seem like my family's Catholic and we have no connection to the CWA, so I was thinking, why is that?
I wouldn't know. No, I don't think so. We're classed as a non-religious, non-political. However, God and the throne are mentioned in our motto and in our collect. Lindy, can you grab the motto out of my... Oh, it is on the quilt. Thank you. So, let us, O Lord, achieve the noble purpose for which we live, that others may be blessed, save us from pettiness and all falsehood. That's a deep one for us. Teach us to seek to find, to give the best. Let us be genuine with one another and see in each other the best that we can find. So many lives depend on us for brightness. Lord, let us be brave and help us to be kind. So there is religion connection, and we always say the word of it, say the word. Oh, cables. So that is said and has been said since it was brought in, and at the beginning of every meeting, every executive meeting, every conference, every CWA get-together, the motto and the collect is spoken. And it's a reminder for us all, especially the pettiness and self-seeking. You get a bunch of women in a room, you get differences of opinion. We have to remind ourselves that you can have a difference of opinion. It doesn't mean you're not friends. You know, you can be told no and it's okay. So, yeah, we try to live by the collect, but the religious part of it, we're classed as non-denomination. So we've recently had a lot of, especially I think the Glenorchy branch have had immigrants joining because they want the social aspect. So we try to encourage as many women across whatever age bracket, whatever religion, whatever social economic to join. You do get a lot out of it. You get that sense of belonging. You get that little have a chat. Oh, is someone ready to have a cuppa? Get together, the phone call, I mean, I probably see CWA ladies a little bit more than normal. I work in the shop, so I see, CWA ladies are probably part of my everyday life. This week I've had, this is my third CWA function. I did radio yesterday, Monday morning I did radio. I had an executive meeting yesterday. Thursday, Friday and Saturday I've got state exhibition. And then the week after, we are catering at Fingal. So CWA is a very big part of my life. However, I have the time. I have a disabled daughter that I need a break from, and CWA is my break. It is my adult conversation. It is my carer's time out. And I appreciate the fact that, I mean, there's only so much shopping you can do, and I'm a big shopper. So, it gives me adult conversation. It gives me an outlet to use my brain, to wake up my brain. You want a reason to get out of bed in the morning. CWA gives me that reason.
You know, I was doing a little urban sketch the other day at CWA. Do you know if it's been in the same building?
Yes. The shop? Yes. Same building. It has been suggested a number of times that we possibly sell the building and move, and it will be over Lindy's dead body over there. Lindy's actually 3-generational. So her mother-in-law was a state president and a very active member of CWA. Lindy is our vice state president, and her daughter, both of her daughters are also members. So in Lindy's family, it's 3 generations. My family thinks it's amusing that I'm CWA, not the other members of the family. But our Australian family are quite proud of the fact that I'm CWA. The English side of it, you know, they don't get it. But I'm from a rural village, so I fit very well. Yes, Women's Institute, yes, which they get a bit shocked that that would be my equivalent here. A girl from our village doesn't do that, so, you know. Yes, go.
So I work in the climate resilience space, and for me, organizations like these are key, you know, for whatever challenges humanity is going to face.
Yes.
And how do you guys see yourself, like, playing a crucial role to support the community when we're going through changes and challenges?
We're also addressing those changes and challenges, and that's what our conferences are about, where as a group, there's a representative from every area. We try to get at least 2 delegates from every branch, and that is probably one of the few times every branch would be represented in a room, and that is also where our resolutions come in. This year, our charity was focused on homeless women over 50. So homelessness is a major issue across Tasmania, across Australia, across the world. Homelessness in women over 50 is becoming an issue. So we decided to tackle that this year and try to support a charity in our area that supports homelessness. We already do that with St Paul's Soup Van. We've been supporting them for a couple of years, cooking for them and providing food. We do that with Shakina House. We are helping Shakina House in a number of ways. So we try to address and focus on our direct communities. With being part of ACWW, that gives us a worldwide perspective as well. So we're specifically women and children. We try to tackle women and children issues as they come up and as our branches bring them to our attention. So that is what our conferences are for. Our next conference is usually in September. I think it's at Brighton. Yeah, and that will be our next. Resolutions will go in, they are voted on as a group, and then they will go to the next step, which is to try to get that next change brought in. Yep, so Shekinah House is a local Launceston group. They have no government funding. They work out of the building in front of the Baptist church next to Charcoal Chicken. Louise, who runs that, is Salt of the Earth. They support low-income families, homelessness. They have a shower and laundry service. They provide food to low-income families. If you need help, that is a very good place to go and get help. Within our community, when you get help from some groups, you're only allowed help once every 3 months. That doesn't help your current situation. Shekinah House will support you for a 3-month period where you need the help. They have a very good screening process. So as a northern group, we are taking Shekinah House on as our charitable entity towards our women in homelessness over 50. We are supporting them in their upcoming trivia night. We'll be running the kitchen, so we will be feeding everybody in the room. We're also going to try to support them. They've just bought a house. They're turning into 4 apartments with shared bathroom and shared kitchen. That is completely community donated. So they've just finalised the purchase, now they're going into the building phase. CWA, we have a room at Spur Wing, where Spur Wing is a Launceston house where people that are travelling from rural areas and have to come in can stay, or family members can stay. So they've got accommodation. So CWA have a room at Spur Wing that we completely furnish and look after. The board will let us know when they require new things, we pay for it and we install it. We're looking at doing the same thing for Shakina House. So we will furnish a room, one of those apartments. The goal is that when the homeless person or the person who's in that apartment moves out, they've got, when you're homeless, you don't have the ability to have a shower, you don't have the fixed address, you don't have a safe room over your head. Having an apartment for 12 months can really change your life. So the goal is to move people through the house. We will hopefully, then that person then can take everything in that apartment with them when they then rent their own place. You have to have a fixed address to even rent in Tasmania. I was quite surprised at the rental situation here. Looking from Sydney, there looks to be a glut of rentals, but in Sydney, when you go for a rental, there is no police check. The real estate does that. Here, you have to pay for that. There is no credit check. The real estate does that. Here, you have to have a credit check for every single person over the age of 18 in your house. To go for a rental here, it can cost up to $500 per household. That has to be current every 30 days. If you get refused for rentals and you're out of that 30 days, you've got to then go and do that again. So a very different rental situation. That impacts our homelessness. You have got people that are working that can't get a rental. Homelessness is not just drugs and alcohol anymore. You have got working homeless that are living in their cars. You've got women coming out of divorce and leaving with nothing. They have been in a relationship for 30, 40 years. They're now single and homeless and divorced. So the homeless situation is extremely different to what it was 10 years ago. One of my friends applied for over 100 houses and she was working 2 jobs. A lovely lady, nice personality, clean. However, 100 properties she applied for. So your homeless situation is very, very different. Of course, you've still got alcohol issues, childhood trauma, and all of that sort of stuff. So we try to help where we can. So Shakina House is the organisation that we've chosen to support to try to enable that room up and running as quickly as possible. And it's something that we're hopeful to keep supporting going forward in that room. Yes?
So where do you get the furniture for these rooms?
That is something that we will either fundraise for or ask for donations. But there will also be donations going into the room. So we have a Spur Wing fund, which on our branch contributions, there'll be an amount of $50. Every branch in the state will donate $50 towards Spur Wing. That is held in a separate bank account. When Spur Wing requires something, we go into that bank account, we purchase what they need, whether it's a refrigerator, a TV, a bed, bedding, a chair, cushions, it doesn't matter, it comes out of that fund. So there's always money put aside. The emergency fund, that money is allocated and not touched. So there are branch contributions that will go into head office, which is earmarked for different projects, and that stays in those project designations.
Well, how would someone like myself, who's not a member, be able to help if you had surplus furniture?
That's a very good question, and we can talk to you after the meeting. Yeah, we're still clarifying if they want new or second-hand. But we will be putting a call out, probably on one of our Facebook pages or on social media somewhere, into the community for things. The problem is if we ask too soon or in the wrong places, we will be inundated. With being Tassie mums at the shop, we get quite a lot of stuff coming through for Tassie mums, which can impact our working area, but they come and pick it up quite regularly. So with the house, you could contact Shakina House directly and offer, but they're not at the point yet that they actually require the furniture. They're still fitting the house with electricals, double glazing, and making it safe to live in. So, but yeah, they've just signed the sale, and I'm pretty sure the cooling off period would be up about now. from memory from the last meeting that we had with them. But they are a really good organisation, very, very based and grounded in what they do. Yes. Any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, well, I had no idea what you were saying about the rentals.
Yes, yes. I was surprised as well when I came to Tasmania, because coming from Sydney, where you've got 200 people turning up to rent something, there was a glut when I came 10 years ago, but getting one of those properties was extremely difficult. Yes.
So, as is often the case, sometimes you think whatever happened in 1901, were we really federated? Because you've got every state having different...
Every state has different rules and regulations.
So I didn't know about that.
Yes.
So, that is a major problem.
Yes. Yes.
So, I would think that you ladies would have a lot of clout with our government to change legislation.
It is something that actually hasn't come up, but we can write those resolutions. And Lindy, would you like to note that one for the next branch meeting, please? Because that is a very good point. When we sit down to write resolutions, we're always trying to look at something bigger. But that is something that you wouldn't know if you owned a house or have lived in your parents' house for years. Coming into the state and renting, I was shocked. And then when my Tasmanian friends are almost homeless, and they are working adults with families because they don't meet whatever real estate criteria is in at that week. Pets and properties. The new pet legislations that state you can have a pet on your property. The level of letter I got from my real estate was a 2-page long document that basically said, yeah, good luck, reading between the lines. But that is a new government legislation. Owners can still say no, but within reason. I got a letter from my real estate saying, did you know pets can cause $25,000 worth of damage to a property? We have seen this in the past. And they really went in hard on good luck. I asked for a fish and a guinea pig for my daughter and was told no. That was 2 years ago. So rentals... Sorry?
Just do...
Rentals are a whole situation and part of the homeless problem in Tasmania, especially the working homeless. You have got fields of tents with families, children. It's no longer a drug and alcohol issue. It is a social economic issue, and a big social economic issue.
Well, the last time I rented was back in the 80s.
Yes.
Before I bought. And it was a desperate shortage, and I was very well employed.
Yes.
And I found.
Yes. Well, you've also got the Airbnb situation at the moment as well.
Yeah.
A lot of rentals have been turned to Airbnbs, which are vacant 70% of the year.
And there's a denial that that's causing a problem.
Yes, big denial.
It is causing a problem.
And people that go on holidays, I lived in town next to an Airbnb. People who go on holidays behave differently when they're on holidays. They will play music at 2 o'clock in the morning. They will drink till 5 a.m. They party. You're on holiday. They don't care how many people are coming and going from the house. You do as their neighbour. So it's a very different situation. But it all impacts the homeless situation. Anybody else?
Last question?
Yes, thank you.
They're a formidable regiment of women, aren't they? Who most of us don't really know enough about. I am astonished to discover that there is a CWA branch based in Launceston. I know the shop was there, but I presumed they were country women who came into the shop. So you really need to get your message out there, because I'm a crafter, but I had no idea there was a Launceston branch of the CWA. Probably my fault, but you can take some responsibility too. Put your hand up if you've got a CWA cookbook. So we've all been influenced somehow or other by the CWA. I know they have done remarkable work. What women tend to be are really practical. And that was demonstrated by some of the things that have been discussed. Who knew that it was the CWA that got the beep? Who knew it was the CWA that helped to have toilet doors open outwards? You know, it's just remarkable what women collectively can do. And you know that if there's more than one head thinking about something, the number of ideas that get generated becomes exponential. So that's what these ladies have, is this exponential capacity to affect what happens for women and children. So they are remarkable people. They need to put the message out there so that we recognise what it is they are doing and how we can either actively or quietly support their wonderful work within our community. Thank you very much indeed to Lindy for her talk. And isn't the quilt just magnificent? Just beautiful. So thank you very much indeed. We're really grateful to you. Now, the next meeting is going to really be different. And we really want you to come along to the next meeting. Because the next meeting happens to be in Pride Month. And you're going to meet someone who has two names, Sven Price and Enya Arsenal. So this might be a totally different experience for you all, and I urge you, please, to take up the opportunity to meet someone from our community that we otherwise might never have met. Thank you very much again to the CWA. More power to your elbows, ladies, and please stay and have a cup of tea or coffee. Thank you very much indeed.